It was a dark night, and the wind was howling through the trees. I was driving down a desolate road, far away from any signs of civilization. I was on this late-night drive because I was working on a research project that required me to travel across state lines into an unfamiliar area. As luck would have it, my phone died due to the lack of service, leaving me feeling completely alone in the darkness. As I continued down the winding road, this eerie feeling started to creep over me. You know, that sense of dread that makes your heart race and your palms sweat. Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, out of nowhere, I saw this figure standing at the side of the road. It was shrouded in shadow and fog, like a ghostly apparition from another world. My first instinct was to floor it and get out of there as fast as I could. But here's the thing, this figure started following my car. Can you believe it? Panic set in, and I couldn't help but wonder why someone would be following me. What did they want? And let me tell you, it wasn't anything good. I pushed the gas pedal to the floor, trying to stay quiet and avoid drawing any attention to myself. But no matter how fast or far I went, it felt like there was always something lurking around the next corner, waiting for its chance to strike. It was pure terror, my friend. Leaf. After what felt like forever, a dim gas station sign suddenly appeared in the dark, like a safe haven to me. The bright neon light of the station was like a guiding light, promising refuge. Its gentle buzz in the quiet night provided a comforting contrast to the earlier eerie silence. As I pulled into the station, the tension in my body started to melt away, replaced by a tangible sense of relief. The sight of the station attendant, a symbol of normalcy and routine, stood in stark contrast to the ghostly figure I had left behind. The everyday sounds of the station, the buzzing fridge, the faint chatter of the radio, the soft swoosh of the doors, all grounded me back to reality, fading the horror into a nightmarish memory. It was a family trip like any other, filled with anticipation and excitement. Little did we know that this journey would soon turn into a nightmare, a true horror story that would forever be etched in our memories. We booked this old cabin in the woods on Airbnb, a peaceful retreat away from the chaos of everyday life. But little did we know what awaited us on that dark, fateful night drive. As we embarked on our journey, the night sky loomed above us with an eerie darkness. The winding roads seemed to stretch endlessly, with only the headlights of our car piercing through the inky blackness. The silence engulfed us, broken only by the faint hum of the engine and the distant sounds of nocturnal creatures. Suddenly, a loud thud erupted from beneath our car, jolting us from our reverie. Fear gripped my heart as I realized that this was no ordinary noise. It was a sound that reverberated through the metal, a sound that signaled something ominous. My father, always the protector, pulled over and instructed us to stay inside while he investigated the source of the disturbance. When my father returned, his face was etched with concern. He revealed that there were footprints of unknown animals, along with a lot of blood, animal fur and bones, leading into the nearby forest, but no sign of the creature responsible for them. The decision was unanimous: it was too dangerous to continue our journey in the darkness. We decided to wait until morning, seeking refuge near a cluster of trees, hidden from prying eyes. As the night slowly gave way to dawn, a sense of unease hung in the air. It was then that my brother noticed movement in front of us. Our hearts skipped a beat as we watched a figure emerge from the shadows, approaching our car with an eerie determination. Fear paralyzed us, rendering us unable to move or speak. And then, we saw it, a creature, towering and wolf-like, its eyes glowing a malevolent red. The creature stood mere inches away from where my father had stood moments ago, and then, as if satisfied with its inspection, it vanished into the darkness. My father, trying to reassure us, dismissed it as a mere wolf, assuring us that it meant us no harm. But doubts lingered in our minds. Was it truly just a wolf, or was there something more sinister lurking in the shadows? Despite the lingering fear, we made the decision to continue our journey. The cabin in the woods felt like a distant dream, overshadowed by the urgency to escape this nightmare. The road stretched ahead, seemingly endless, as we pushed forward, our hearts pounding with each passing mile. As we drove, the tension in the car was palpable. Every shadow seemed to hold a hidden threat, every rustle of leaves a harbinger of danger. We navigated through treacherous curves and steep inclines, our anxiety growing with each passing moment. It was as if the world itself conspired against us, throwing obstacles in our path at every turn. Just when we thought we were safe, the unimaginable unfolded before our eyes. We stumbled upon a scene so grotesque, it defied all logic. The creature we had encountered earlier was not alone. It was part of a pack of monstrous beings that seemed to embody nightmares themselves. Our hearts pounded in our chests as we realized the true horror of our situation. The road ahead was treacherous, but we refused to be victims of this nightmarish ordeal. Dad slammed the gas, expertly controlling the car's stability. Finally, we made it to the cabin, rushing inside and locking the door. And then, we heard it. The creatures, howling and howling, their eerie cries filling the air for what seemed like an eternity. But eventually, the silence returned, as if the night had swallowed their haunting voices. The true horror story of that night drive will forever be etched in our memories. It was a journey that tested our limits, both physically and emotionally. We convinced ourselves that the creatures we encountered were wolves, but who knows? Are there wolves with red eyes? I swear this is a true story that happened to me a couple of years ago. I was driving through the city late at night, the streets illuminated by the soft glow of streetlights. The faint sound of distant music filled the air, adding to the ambience of the moment. It was then that I realized, with a tinge of regret, that I had been drinking a couple of beers with my colleagues. Even though I probably shouldn't be driving, I was pretty confident that I'd make it home without any issues. As I passed a city park on my way, something caught my eye. In the darkness of the night, there appeared to be a small figure playing on one of the swings. A little girl. Thinking nothing of it, I continued on my drive until suddenly that same figure appeared right in front of me. My heart raced as I slammed on the brakes with all my might, yet nothing happened. The car wasn't slowing down or swerving away from whatever stood before me, it just kept going as if nothing were wrong. When I finally came to a stop and opened my eyes again, what met me was far more terrifying than anything else. Standing right beside the car was an empty swing set and no trace of a child anywhere near me. I immediately started the car again and sped off. I couldn't believe what had just happened. My mind was filled with questions and all sorts of thoughts. How could this be? Who was that girl? Was it even real or just a figment of my imagination created by alcohol-induced hallucinations? Driving home, I constantly looked in the rearview mirror, expecting to see the girl following me or something worse. I was relieved when I finally arrived home safe and sound, but that night still haunts me. What I experienced was definitively strange and unexplainable, though I'm sure it will remain a mystery forever. It's been years since that nightmarish experience, but even now when I pass by parks during late hours, fear still grips me every time. To this day, though, nobody has ever been able to explain how that little figure managed to disappear so quickly without leaving any trace behind. It will forever remain one of those true night drive horror stories which can never truly be explained. Every time I passed that park I was always on my guard, knowing that anything could happen. I still wonder what had happened that night and if the little girl was real or not. Perhaps it's better to never know.